Hello and welcome to this video tutorial. In this video we're going to answer the question, how can I dress my warrior in animal furs? So here is the final image here, and let's get started with our sketch. So I'm just going to start sketching out the basic form of the character first, trying to get a nice gestural pose. Want to make a dynamic piece here with kind of a charging warrior. Yeah, and usually the first thing I like to do is gather the references I need for a piece. In this one in particular, I just wanted to gather some wolf pelt furs for our character to dress him up in. So I just Googled a bunch of images and just kind of nothing to keep me bound to it, but just to get some ideas of the hair color patterns and various shapes, and getting like a wolf's head and adding some maybe some claws on our warrior as well. Yeah, so just kind of roughing in the basic values, and I decided to put kind of a wolf head on top with some arms kind of coming around and tied around him, but I wanted to make sure I separated out the forms. So we have the wolf kind of cloak headdress kind of thing at the top, have some exposed skin for the barbarian, showing off his muscles and stuff, and then we're going to have like a wolf kind of loincloth kind of stuff, showing off some legs, and then finish up with wolf kind of boot stuff. Yeah, and I'm kind of going along here, and kind of like when you're sketching out the forms of fur or animal furs, you want to make sure that the edges are uneven, that you have a lot of that kind of coarse hair kind of creating the silhouette. It's not going to be like a smooth flowing cape. It's going to be like a thicker, heavier kind of fabric. So you'll often have big bulky shapes. You'll hardly ever see like really nice tight folds in the fabric per se. But yeah, so just make I like to add a little bit of color variation. So you see here on the edges of the wolf pelt, there's like whiter kind of hair, and then it kind of goes in with the darker fur patterns. I'm getting those a lot from the references I'm using of seeing how often you'll have like a lighter undercoat of fur, but if it's a bear or another kind of animal, you kind of just pull up those references and see what their fur patterns are kind of looking like. And just make sure you gather the proper references. But obviously when you're taking a reference of an animal and putting it on something else, you're gonna have to kind of be a little creative there, and what have you. Yeah, and now I'm just kind of getting into the color phase here. So just kind of roughing in the colors there, adding a bit of like the brownish kind of furs, and then having a bit of the skin tone to help separate those main forms, like I was saying earlier. Yeah, so just kind of I like to use Photoshop's natural media brushes to kind of get the kind of like the soft fur technique. So if you haven't played around with those, or I'd definitely recommend it. It kind of helps kind of soften those edges and helps you focus not to paint like every little hair, but you're mainly getting the kind of the thicker shapes, and kind of softens the edges that you need. Yeah, so yeah, just kind of polishing out the final things here. I often like to, when doing like a barbarian piece, I like to have a lot of kind of rough cut leather. You kind of see like underneath his kind of like loin cloth area, like kind of balancing the kind of thick lighter furs with some like darker kind of leather with some like crude edges there. Just think like almost dried fur, or dried animal skin rather. Yeah, and then like to usually add a bit of splash color. So in this piece, and obviously he's a warrior, so I'm adding a bit of blood and whatnot. So I'm just kind of finishing up the piece here, and there it is. So that's our kind of our a warrior charging out of the shadows with some wolf pelts, and yeah.